Sunny skies, green grass and forwards all floating like that. Oof. In for the try, Rugby. Welcome my friends to the Rugby Update. We are now at the penultimate episode of Chasing the Sun 2. And in my fledgling movie critic career, I'm still to rate anything as bad. Am I the problem? Let's get into this week's episode to find out. Nope, it's the same again. Episode 4 was the masterpiecest so far. This episode, they focused on two of the things that defines us all as humans. 1. How we show or hide our emotions to those around us, and how we can use them to lift our performances to levels we couldn't even comprehend. And number 2, the scrum in rugby union. On that second thing, I have not in my life seen a show dedicate so much time and energy into explaining the scrum. Coach Don Heeman and a lot of the Bok forwards go into fine detail about their love of this set piece and the feeling of doing it, and how they used their talent and tactics to beat a fired up England in the semi-final. Retsego Faditswe is the star of this episode, with his quiet confidence belying incredible power and talent. It's more enlightening than any scrum explanation video I've ever seen, and I am quite glad that Wildcard got to see it and talk about it for like 30 minutes. Go watch that video. And then the first thing that makes us human, the emotion of it all. It is one of the most important parts of winning close international rugby matches. It is emotion that gets you to chase that lost cause or tackle harder on the gain line than your opponent. I think it was Sam Warburton or maybe Brian O'Driscoll who said that it's almost impossible to be at 100% emotional readiness for every single game every weekend. And those sentiments are mirrored by Pollard and Reinach in this episode. We have a well of feeling that needs to be replaced, and incredible performances one weekend can lead to flat squibs the next. What makes this episode for me is seeing the box go from emotionally empty after a massive France game to stoking the fire during the match against England to come back and win that semi-final. I couldn't help but get swept up in all the fire and brimstone myself, and when we get to the end of the episode and are shown the toll it takes, I was bawling like a baby. I'll sound like a broken record again, but the access and honesty we get from this team is incredible, and the willingness to show that ending will stick with me for a very long time. Masterful television. 5 Malherbes out of 5 again, and my movie critic career on the rocks. My favorite moment? That ending, man, was devastating. Tell you what's not devastating. The Champions Cup quarterfinals. Unless you're the Bulls in La Rochelle and Bordeaux and Exeter, so devastating 50% of the time. Let's investigate those results. Some people were saying Bordeaux versus Harlequins could end up being a 100-point match, and they were very close to being right. Most believed, me included, that UBB would be too much for the English mad lads. All of us were wrong about that. In one of the best games of the Champions Cup so far, the Quins and Bordeaux went try for try in front of some very lucky fans to end up at 41-42 for the visitors. Incredible entertainment, and I hope Quins have a lot more scoring left in them. Rugby kept on delivering as the next day started off with the big one. Leinster versus La Rochelle in front of a sold-out Aviva. This was Leinster's chance to excise some demons from the last few years and for Jacques Nienaber to earn his probably considerable keep. He's repeatedly stated that teams need about 14 games to get the hang of his defensive system. This was game 15, and boy did they get the hang of it. For the first time since I've been watching these two teams play, Leinster outmuscled La Rochelle, putting up a massive 40 points to 13 win. Only 2 big games stand between Leinster and that 5th star now. Everybody got pissed off when they saw the team the Bulls were fielding against the very good Saints side in Northampton. People were saying they were bringing this competition into disrepute, choosing to rather lose this playoff match in service of the Urk. 59 points to 22, and everybody was vindicated, I guess. The Bulls B team were no match for the Saints, and honestly, I don't think the Bulls A team would have gone there and won either. Maybe that's what Jake was thinking as well. Maybe next year. The last game of the weekend saw the under-the-radar Chiefs travel to the extremely on-the-radar Toulouse. The Chiefs did prove tough to break down and went into halftime only 1 point behind the hosts. But if you go to the website and you look at the team sheets today, you will see Antoine Dupont replaced at 58 minutes. What happened just after the break for them to feel confident enough for him to go off? You guessed it, the big French powerhouse smashed Exeter by 64 points to 26, making me wonder to myself if this competition is really only for Toulouse, Leinster and La Rochelle to fight over every year. I get to bury those thoughts deep down now because the Champions Cup will only return in May for the semi-finals. Hopefully they are a little closer than the quarterfinals. In the meantime, we get to enjoy the Lions beating Leinster in the Urk this coming weekend. Holy shit, look at the news. And the big one is Jordie Barrett recommitting to New Zealand Rugby until 2027 and the Hurricanes until 2028. But no one cares about that. They do care about the little clause where Jordie gets a sabbatical for 6 months at the end of this year, where he will be joining fucking Leinster. At some point next year, we might all see a Cullen Nienaber coached Leinster field a team with Joe McCarthy, Robbie Henshaw and Tyke Byrne in it. And on the bench, we will see RG Snyman, Jordie Barrett and, if the rumors are true, Taniela Tupou. Jesus! It is going to be incredible to see these stars combine in some massive DC Marvel crossover event. And it'll be even more incredible when they lose to the Lions. Don't at me. The final bit of news was mentioned earlier in that everybody's angry at the Bulls for fielding a B team in the Champions Cup quarterfinals. There were even talks about them coming under investigation for bringing the competition into disrepute. Heavy stuff. Add to that the Bulls needing last-minute business class flights from Saru to the tune of 4 million rand just so they could get to the bloody game to play it. Obviously, this whole thing is fucked. Scheduling is not working and teams are having to choose between domestic or Champions Cup glory. The format is a basket case, incentivizing massive squads with salary budgets so huge that it is making teams go bankrupt. The whole thing needs a rethink, which is kind of actually happening according to the news. If it were me, and this would never happen, I would probably cut the number of teams by about half. I would figure out how to have it run after all the domestic comps, and I would see if I can have fewer games with higher stakes. You know, quality over quantity. Honestly, figuring it out would probably require a whole video by itself with calendars and protractors and the whole thing. That will not happen this week because I must bid you adieu. I will see you all next week so we can chat about what it was like to see the Lions beat Leinster live at Ellis Park.